Well, Andy, it's we've come to the end of the rainbow, if you will. We got the pot of gold, and you know, we knew how it was going to end. Well, we kind of knew how it was going to
Kind
end,
of, kind of.
kind of, but we didn't know actually how it was going to end. We didn't know if we were going to get something from the following day, the 31st. But
No, well, a little bit.
a little bit. We'll talk about that as we get on. As we get on, but they actually these last two episodes dropped a little earlier than than the first episode did, didn't it?
Yeah, these were available before 3:01 a.m. Eastern time.
Yes, yes, yes. Jason, what's up?
Good evening, good morning, wherever you are
Yes,
in the world. It could be the morning if you're in the UK. It could be the
afternoon,
middle of the night.
evening. Yeah.
No matter where you are. Oh, listen, it didn't disappoint. We
No,
knew,
no, no.
we knew that the third installment was going to center around that rooftop performance, and boy,
Yeah, it
it
sure
did not
did.
it did not disappoint.
Right. But it's funny because as we're inching closer and closer to that date, they had to postpone it because of weather
Weather,
or
right?
whatever, and then they're still messing around. They're still not 100% taking it seriously.
No, even that day they didn't want to go up there.
Right?
Although
Yes.
they had a meeting downstairs about going up there
Right.
because George didn't really seem too keen on going up.
No, no, and neither did Paul there for one of those meetings as well. But Beans, good old Beans. How are you doing, buddy?
Morning
I'm
beans.
imagine that you watched all of his as well, Beans, like we have. So very again, the story that Peter Jackson has laid out for us here in this episode again done very well,
Oh,
and oh wow, hi Hudson. So
morning,
he
Hudson.
was yeah.
Yeah,
It's still, I mean, I'm excited, but I'm also worn out. you know.
yeah. It's
Yeah.
3 days in a row of this.
Right.
So, and it's
Yeah.
going to require multiple
Yes. Absolutely.
rewatches. And,
Yeah.
and your cousin David said to this yesterday.
Okay.
It's so encompassing. 8 hours. I mean,
Yes.
and we're just initially giving our initial raw emotions, as it were,
Right.
to this. I mean, it's to really watch anything over and over again. You'll pick up new little nuances every time you watch it.
Absolutely. Every time you watch like a an epic film, you pick something up every time you
Godfather,
watch Godfather too.
anything.
Yeah.
It's so
Exactly. James, how
so
you doing?
such as the. I mean, and I know we're fresh off the end of it, so we're kind of talking about the end. But just go look at the credits and how many people
Yeah.
were involved in the production of the credits. It's incredible between
It is.
1969 and the crew that Peter Jackson had there working on it in post in New Zealand is incredible.
Yes.
You
Yeah.
know,
So let's just jump right in here because
yeah,
still a lot going on.
yep.
So Sunday the 27th,
Day
this is day
17.
17. I love. Oh, James, you're fresh. Well, lucky you.
Oh, lucky you,
Um,
James. Well,
yeah,
because it's
yeah,
just because what is it about
uh,
7, 8? It was about 10 or 11 in the morning over there.
yeah, yeah.
That's why.
Yeah. I've always seen this clip before, the octopus's garden,
Right,
and George coming in to
helping him out.
help
Yeah.
out a bit. I mean, that's just a great moment. Just love to see these little moments. And then, in walks Paul and Linda with Heather. So we
With
finally,
Heather, finally see Heather. And
yeah, because
we've seen some of this footage previously.
right,
This day, out of all the days of the footage, has been pretty widely circulated for years. Heather
right,
coming in
right.
and stuff, but obviously not to this extent as we saw today.
No, no, we got an extra extended. Yeah, and Jason, we'll get to that in a second. Great comment right there. Um, because she was very playful,
Very.
and the guys were playful with her. I love the bit with she bangs on the drum and Ringo goes,
Yeah.
just jumps up, and
Yeah.
she gets a
Very
kick out
playful.
of it. Yeah, and then we get the Yoko, another Yoko jam, and then right after that, then you get the Heather jam, I guess, if you will, because she's doing her best Yoko impersonation, which
Yep.
is hilarious.
And even then, John was playful with her. It was very, very
Right.
relaxed. You know.
Yeah, I mean, John wasn't, she was hanging out with John for a couple of minutes there, hanging out with Richie,
Yeah.
next to Paul for a lot of that time. So that was really funny. Just seeing her, interact with the guys was really cute. Um,
Initially, I was like, I'm like, why would they bring her? Why would they bring her in? But then I'm like, it's a Sunday, so it's not a day they were
right,
going to normally going to work. So
correct,
it was a
correct.
Sunday, so they probably said, okay, let's just all go in. I was thinking about that with doing the notes. I'm like, normally
No,
during a work week, they wouldn't bring,
right.
Linda wouldn't come every day. She was there 1 or 2 days prior, but being that it's a Sunday, they're at Apple, everybody's going to just go and hang.
Right. Yeah, so that was great. I mean, we saw a little bit of her in the trailer, so
Mm,
we were wondering when it's going to be, and there it was.
got
We got the
ticket.
extent a little bit more of Dig It, which I liked when they showed a clip, and that particular clip ended up on the album, and we'll
Yes.
get more of that.
Oh, yeah.
We'll get more of that here in a bit because it lets like the newcomer,
But
the newcomers,
if you're
right,
listening,
the
you know,
casual, right, exactly. But
you're
but
listening
now
to that. It could have second. You're like, that's the album
right,
version.
that's it, right.
We know
Like
that.
a rolling
Come
stone,
on, like, oh, yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah.
yeah. You know it's there. I mean, we know it's there, but for the
The
casual, the
casual
beginners,
fan, this is the
that's
version that's
that's
right. They
yeah,
need that.
exactly. They need that exactly, and that was great. And then they're still going back to those old tunes. Blue
Hmm.
suede shoes, shake, rattle, and roll. It's just fun seeing them go back to those songs. That they've done so many times, probably back in that Hamburg early Cavern days. Even recording them, during Beatlemania. So it was cool seeing that, and then last
Funny,
thing they show. Go ahead.
funny moment. Then when they're rehearsing "Long and Winding Road," I think it's George Martin that says, we don't need any drums for this one, or it might have been Paul. You know,
Right.
when they were just rehearsing it.
Yeah, yeah, no, and that was nice too, seeing that, and whether or not they're gonna add some orchestration to it,
Yep.
or not, and Paul's like shaking off. Oh, I don't know.
I will say it
Um,
though that towards the end of that Sunday, the day 17, John seemed out of it in the control room. Did you see that when he had his head down for like 5
yeah, a little
minutes?
bit. Yeah, yeah,
Seemed totally zonked and totally out of it. I wrote that down in my notes. I'm like, damn, John just seems out of it. I know he was obviously
yeah.
playful, but that's just an example, I guess, of the yin and yang he was going through
Yes.
there a little bit,
Right.
and
Right.
his hair looked all kind of messy, and then I noticed that too. Like other parts of that, he looked a little more uh, with it,
Lively. Yeah.
lively, So just that scene right there, I'm like, damn, he's really out of it right there.
Yeah, but still, I mean, that day was cool. Billy Preston's back.
Oh yeah,
There he's adding his bits to that. So, yeah. Then we moved to Monday the 27th, which
Monday,
is day
day
which is day
18,
18. Yeah. Again, they're back to shake, rattle, and roll again, and then Kansas City, Blue
Kansas
Suede
City,
Shoes.
Miss
Yeah.
Ann, blue suede shoes, all
Yeah.
them. Yep.
Right. So still, I mean,
Love,
we're
love,
inching.
love, love George's suit. George's suit this day was
Oh,
absolutely on
yeah.
point. The
Yeah,
pink with the purple,
excellent. Yes.
on
So
point.
again, still we're getting inching closer and closer to the big day, and they're still just either not taking us seriously or just having fun. I don't know. Um, but
Get a
but
little.
there's that great.
Go
Yeah,
ahead.
there's that great bit where you see John and Paul dancing, like we saw in the trailer last year. Um,
Yes,
that was really cool. I really liked, George. Now he's getting into Old Brown
old
Shoe.
brown shoe.
Yeah, so that's being presented, and you really see Paul getting into it a little bit. So that made me happy to see, and I like them working on that, and I think we'll get a little bit more of that again here soon. But so
very
that was cool. Go ahead.
key moment here in that old brown shoe sequence. He brings this song to the table, and George says to John, "You once told me 10 years ago to
Yes,
when you get a song to just get it out and
finish
finish."
it.
I thought
Yes.
finish it. I thought that was so cool.
No, it was, and thank you for bringing that up because I forgot to write that down. So yeah, good point. And then we get more Let It Be, we get more Long Winding
Long and winding
Road.
road. Oh,
Yeah,
darling.
and then we get a few minutes of them bitching about the sound system.
Yeah.
They're not really liking what they're hearing. They really can't hear themselves play. Um, let's see here, James. We're all going to repeat watch until our subscriptions
Well,
expire. There you go.
it's a tight space, and they've got all these
Right.
amps and mics everywhere. And George Martin's
Oh,
telling
there's
them that.
wire cords all over the floor. There's not really a lot of room in there.
No, so of
Mm,
course you're going to get a little feedback there. I mean, it's
right.
1969, so of course it's
Yeah.
going to be a little. Come fix our crap.
Yeah, exactly. Um, you get the old darling, like you said, and then I love the bit because we get this on the Let It Be box set where they're doing "Don't Let Me Down," but then John announces Yoko's divorce goes
Yep.
through, and no, "Oh Darling," yeah, they're running
No,
through "Oh Darling,"
no,
and then
darling.
that's where John announces divorce, Yoko's divorce going through. So that was cool. Then again, "Don't Let Me Down," really cool bit listening to do Paul sing "Strawberry Fields" forever.
That was
Really
on
like
piano.
that.
That was awesome.
Yeah, yeah,
Paul doing a couple of strains there of Strawberry
right,
Fields and just playing
right.
it on the piano. So cool.
That's again something that I would have loved to have seen on the Let It Be box set.
Yes, that was awesome.
Yeah. Then they go in to get back. Before then, that's where you hear the Sweet Loretta Fat,
Yeah,
bit,
which was
which
yeah
which
goes
is
on to the
cool.
album. Yep.
Yeah, yeah. And then we get to see Alan Parsons for the second time. Not really
And
seeing him do much,
yeah,
and then
Alan
Chris
Parsons
Thomas too.
Alan Parsons as the tape
R-
op, and Chris Thomas
Right.
for the first time. So now you're
Yeah.
seeing these key players come into the picture.
Right. They're running through "I've Got a Feeling," and then again, you just really see Billy Preston shining. His work on this album is just extraordinary. I mean, I don't see this album going anywhere if not for Billy Preston. I just really think the level
Agreed.
of his expertise really just you know was exactly what they needed for that album.
Level of expertise and just his how he is as how he was as a person. His
Mm,
demeanor and persona is
right.
exactly what they needed. Forget, I
Agreed.
mean, the guy could play. They needed somebody with his vibe to come in and just
Yeah.
give it that, and that's what exactly why I think it's why everything was able to succeed. For what it
Yeah.
was, the recessions, the
Yeah.
rooftop, everything.
Yep. Agreed. Then we moved to Tuesday the 28th,
Day
day 19.
19, yeah,
Rooftop is officially delayed
due to
one
weather.
day because due to weather. We get a very cool bit getting into something.
Now, before
George working on that, but go ahead.
Paul leaves for a meeting during
Yes.
this,
Yes.
but
Right.
what meeting? They never really specify.
Yeah. I wonder if that was a Eastman meeting. I wonder.
Maybe
You
because
know,
Klein is starting to come into the picture now. So and
because when he leaves, guess what they start talking about?
bingo.
Alan Klein.
Bingo. And like John and
Yeah,
George, like they go off on a tangent about it, and
right.
John apologizes. He's like, "Oh, sorry to derail this," but like John was really telling him, "Wow, he knows us well. He knows you
Oh,
better than
exactly.
me." And
Right, right. And then, Glenn Johns or John was just, I just think he's fantastic. Was what he says later on. Glenn Johns adds his 2 cents, which was pretty cool as well. Um, Old Brown Shoe again.
yeah,
Paul's back. They get back into "Don't Let Me Down,"
don't let me down.
and
Yeah,
then they highlight that was the version that they ended up being on the B side.
yes,
With "Get Back," right? Yeah,
with Get Back right. And
yeah,
then one of the only times you actually see somebody else credited featuring Billy Preston on the
right.
it says that on the B side. So
Yeah,
good for
a good
Billy.
yeah, good buddy Ed's here. How you doing,
Hey, how about
Mister
that little
Broad Street?
that little gizmo that they were playing with? That little
Oh, that was very cool. Yeah, because it had the little pen,
right.
and Billy's just having a field day with that thing.
Hmm. That was
Yeah,
so cool to see them messing with
yeah,
that thing.
yes, agreed, 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 agreed.
And then looks like we get the first strains of "I Want You" rehearsed as well too. So
Yes, I want you. Right, absolutely. So that was cool. Wednesday, the 29th, day 20.
day 20.
Right. This is when you see John in the
Oh
room with Glenn Johns. and
Yes.
they're talking about Alan Klein, and Glenn's calling him like a strange man, very
Yep.
clever, but a strange man.
Strange
He's
man.
talking
Yes.
about how, if Alan Klein has asked you a question, and if he doesn't like where the answer's
He
going,
just
he'll
cut you
change
off.
he'll just cut you off and change the subject completely.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which was pretty interesting. And then we get this long chat between Paul and John,
Very.
sitting
Yeah.
across from each
They're
other,
off from
and
each other
just
with over the shoulder of Paul's shot with looking right at
yeah,
John,
yeah,
which
and how they're gonna end this. I mean, John's like, well, yeah, I thought that's what we're gonna do, but Paul's is still. I don't know. He's the one that wants this big, ending, but yet he's
ending.
still hesitant about it.
Hmm.
You know, So really, just an interesting chat between the two. I thought, again, you see the body language, you see the facial expressions while they're doing these, this back and forth, and it's just so interesting to see these two, how
So
they
that was,
communicate,
yep. I mean, back and forth.
back
This
and
was
forth.
one.
Yeah, exactly.
This day was a highlight too because we got an appearance of Mike McCartney in the studio.
Yes, yes, we did. Good point. And George butts in from he goes, how many have we recorded that are good enough? And then John goes, none.
None.
So they still haven't gotten, you know, the masters down of these songs yet. Which is so
No.
funny because we're on day 20 and they're still, you know, still working on them.
Still got they got half a dozen. They got 6 songs in 3 weeks.
Right. And then we get some bits from that we saw in Let It Be. You saw Paul doing, well, we'll do the numbers. We're the band,
Right.
and they're talking about, being on the roof. And then, George's like, oh, I don't want to be on the roof, but,
He
but
didn't
I'll
want
do it,
to. But right.
yeah.
Right. But I'll do it. I don't
And then
really want to.
Ringo,
But
yeah, and Ringo's like, oh, I'll go on the roof,
yeah.
so.
Yeah, but that chat on Wednesday, the 29th, day 20, was
Right.
one of the highlights of this episode for sure.
I agree. That's something that, we'll just keep on examining every time
Yep.
every time we watch that. Um, then we get the
Well,
run through. We'll get
yeah,
the
the run
list of the
through.
songs that they're gonna do for the concert or for the album. And it's funny because they're doing I Want You or whatever, and then
Yes,
John is just singing all the titles
singing.
of the
He's singing all the
songs.
all the all the songs that they're going to go
Yeah,
through too. I don't know if it
right.
was before this or after this though. Really key point here again with George. George is talking about the backlog of songs that he has.
Hmm.
He's talking to John about it. He's like, I got enough
Yes,
songs
good
for the
point.
next. I have enough
Yes,
songs for the next 10 years. He's
right,
like, oh, I could give them to other people. And then he was like, screw it, I'll just do them.
right.
So
Yeah, exactly. Think about myself for a change. Yeah, and that's right. We see Mike McCartney, or McGear, whatever you want to call him. Another interesting bit with "I Want You," John singing "I Had a Dream" instead of "I Want You," which I
yeah,
thought, and Billy Preston's really getting into it. I thought that was really cool as well. And Billy again, Billy is just he's amazing. I'm probably going to say that another 20 more times, but
oh, James Boyce points out Billy Preston was only 22 at that time.
yes, isn't that
22 years
crazy?
old. Ridiculous.
Yeah. Um, Another really funny bit is they're doing two of us and they're just singing it like this
Yeah,
without
yeah,
opening their
yeah.
mouths.
Right.
I love that bit.
Although a lot of that was, I think, Peter Jackson trickery too as well.
Mm,
I think there was a lot of that freeze frame slow mo kind of going on there.
okay,
I don't think it
right.
was them going the whole time. I think that footage was slowed down to achieve
Mm,
that. I don't think it was the whole thing. I was watching that pretty carefully. I think that was just
right.
footage that was oversampled to get that because there actually wasn't video footage of that. Is
Right.
how I kind of looked at that
Right. Yeah, and
initially.
you see that, but then again, you're just going to man, they're still fooling around. Just
Right.
take this shit seriously, will
I
you?
know. Come on. Yeah.
So then we get Thursday,
And we get to the
the
day.
30th.
Here's the day.
Yep,
Here's the day.
day 21. They're on there. It starts off with them on the roof. Then we get all the information. 5 cameras on the roof. You get one camera across the street on the roof, and then you get
On the
three
roof, one on the
camera.
street, three
Uh,
on the street,
yeah,
and
street and one in
a
the
secret one
reception.
in the reception area, which was,
Yes,
as we watched this, ended up being so awesome because we were able to see what was going on below
right,
while the
right.
concert was going on. And
Yes,
that was again, these good old Michael Lindsay Hogg and these secret mics and cameras that he dropped everywhere. Maybe we can ask
yep.
him one day.
Yeah, maybe. You see Glenn Johns and George Martin in the control room because
And
they're going to
Chris
record.
and Chris
Yep,
Thomas, which to see them monitoring it via closed circuit television in the downstairs is
right,
remarkable for 1969. They're going to just be downstairs and monitor the
right.
whole thing. Incredible.
It's amazing, how they were able to do this. I mean, how long do these cords need to be? Where's all the power going, coming
Yeah.
from? You
They
know,
probably had
this,
cables running up and down every
right?
floor of that place to do
Exactly.
this.
Yes, exactly. It's amazing the setup. They really didn't have a lot of space
No.
to begin with, so it was really amazing how many people they got up there. Including the band, including the
And
crew.
the
You
crew,
know, the
secretaries,
wives. Yeah,
everybody.
exactly.
There
Yeah.
had to be a good 20
Right.
people up there, if
I
not
think
more.
Ken Mansfield was up there as well. He was the U.S.
Yes. Yep.
Apple rep. Yep. So, pretty amazing. As you're thinking about this, then you get the text. They're in the meeting and they're still not 100% sure
If
whether
they're
they're
going to
going to
go
go
up there or
through.
not. Well, they're not sure if they want to go up to the roof.
Right. Right. Hey
The
Peter, how
Beatles,
you doing?
yeah.
Best documentary of all time? Maybe. Absolutely, maybe.
But even on the morning
Um,
of, well, they're still discussing whether or not they want to go up there.
right.
And I'm sure
Absolutely.
at that point, the four of them just said, "We've been doing this for 3 weeks, so let's just get it over with."
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's been really 30 days, but really only 21 days if you
20
think about it.
when you think
You
about the
know.
working days, yeah, 21 days,
Yeah,
3 weeks.
exactly.
3 weeks.
So good point there. So they finally walk out. They mess around with Get Back for a few minutes. Now I was wondering how they were going to do this, because with all the cameras that they got going on, were they going to show them and cut, do all these, cut to the downstairs, cut
No,
or
but
to the street, cut to
the
the lobby. But I'm glad they
Peter
did the split
the split
screen
screen was
approach.
the
Yeah,
only way to do that, to show,
yeah,
keep the main screen on the Beatles and have the other two cameras to show the people
right,
in the streets, the other
right,
camera in the office in the reception area. That
right,
was a genius way to do that. So we weren't cutting away from the performance as well.
right.
And I mean, how cool was that just to watch everybody walk by? Most people had no problem with it, even the
No,
older
no,
people. Most people
right.
didn't care.
Most people didn't care, but the Bobby said when he came in, like 30 people complained or something like that.
It's a
When the police
breach.
got
It's a breach of
yeah,
the peace.
right,
God,
yeah,
a breach of the peace. The Beatles are peace. What the hell kind of music is being made today? Because
right.
that's a
But
breach of peace.
again, I mean, they're always looked at the exception of the rule, So it's amazing that they were allowed to go as long as they did.
Well, they were
Um,
stalling him, and the secretary, I forget her
right,
name, but she was very
right,
cute. Well, not really sure what's going on, and she was playing it
yeah,
down. And it's for a film, and it's a
right,
live thing, and you can't go up there. There's too much weight on there. And then finally, they summon Mal. Mal comes
well,
down,
right, right,
lovable Mal to deal with them, and then Mal goes up there and actually, like, that's when you see Mal kind of, as they're performing, going to John and George saying, "You got to stop." Like, they're gonna,
right.
and I think Mal turned the amp off and George turns it back on. I
Yes,
think,
yes, yeah.
because Mal turns it off and George is like, "Screw that.
Yeah,
Turn it
yeah,
back
get it back
on."
on. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Oh
Uh,
man. Yeah,
good,
exactly. Rascal, how you doing? Good morning.
good
Thanks for
morning,
showing up.
Rascal.
Yeah, yeah. Um, but again, um, where was it? So they start with "Get Back,"
Right.
and they move into "Don't Let Me Down," and this is the version where John
John
forgets
messes the
the
words.
yeah, the messes up the words in the second verse. So I always love that. I think that's great. Go into "I've Got a Feeling." So again, this is they right on the text on the screen. This is the version that's on. Where you go? Well, that's coming up. That's coming up because during, "Don't Let Me Down," he turns around, sees the cops, and he's like smiling. He goes,
He
"Woo!"
was. He was like,
Yes,
"Whoa!"
yes,
And Ringo's looking over. You know,
right, yeah.
what the hell were those
So
What the hell were those Bobbies gonna do? I mean, and
oh yeah, come on,
the one
yeah,
cop looked all of 22 years old.
exactly 19 probably.
I'm gonna have to start
He's
making arrests. Well, you go ahead and do that.
yeah, yeah. Um, yeah, so I've Got a Feeling. That's the version that ends up on Let It Be. Then they go to One After 909. Again, that's the version that ends up on Let It Be. Same with Dig a Pony, but they cut the All I Want Is You off of that one, which is
Right.
unfortunate because
Which
I
they
really
should have
like
left
that.
that. They should have
Yeah,
left that. That version with the beginning like that to open and
right.
close it is makes that song even better.
Yep, yep,
Um,
absolutely. Yes, Tim says, yeah, you can even hear in the original movie that Lisa George Ant went out. Yeah, exactly. Yep,
Can I
good point
just can
there,
I just
Tim.
can I just say though
Yeah.
that despite and I couldn't help but think this when I was watching this with those performances, especially for that made it onto the album versions, despite all that kind of just couple of just weeks of like meandering and noodling and not being serious, when the money was on the line, they fucking go all out and they freaking knock it out of the park with "I Got a
Yes.
Feeling" and "Dig a Pony." I mean, they were on fire despite all the BS. When the money was on the line, they brought the freaking goods every damn time.
Yeah, and I think Paul have said that a few times. I think Ringo said that a few times as well. I mean, when and they've said it countless times in this documentary. When the backs are up against the wall,
Oh,
they're able to perform at their best. Um, and do you think we'll get actual physical? Well, I got the only
oh yeah.
physical that I need. I got the Olivia Newton-John physical
Here
set,
we
so
go.
that
Here we go with
so I'm good
Olivia.
with
Here we go at 6:15 in the morning with Olivia Newton-John.
yeah.
I'm about to end this first stream right now. I'm going to bed.
Anyways, so you got "Don't Let Me Down." This is when Paul turns around,
Yeah.
sees the bobbies, and then he's just, I mean, he just brightens up. His face just brightens up,
Yeah.
and it's just brilliant, just awesome. And then they go to "Get Back." They finish with "Get Back," and they just what they do. They just take their instruments off, and then they just walk out, and that's it.
Yeah.
I know they're hoping that they'll come up behind them with their little clubs or whatever, choke them off and drag them off, uh, drag them, down the stairs. But
Yeah,
unfortunately,
yeah, that's the London Bobbies. We're not going to do it. Even when the sergeant comes in, okay, he
right.
actually and the guy's already up there. He actually asks if he can go in. Like if this was now, they'd be
Yeah,
just barred. They'd be ripping down the door. He even asks, may I come in? May I go upstairs? It's just
right.
different. It's different.
Yeah, it's different now. And Tim makes a good point here too. Realistically, they recorded Let It Be in less time to record the second album, if you think. And in a
Yeah,
way, yeah. In a
very
way,
true.
maybe. Yeah.
The fact that after this date, this material sits on the shelf for a year.
Right. Right.
Sits on the shelf. Other than the Get Back, Don't Let Me Down single. Which comes out a few months after this. But I mean, this,
Right.
it's just they do all this work and then they would just shelve it, and then they go and then they
Yeah.
just jump into Abbey Road a little few months later.
Right. A few months later. I love the bit when they come down and they're in the control room and they're listening
Oh,
back.
the post that
Yes.
footage was gold because it's like the concert just ends, they won down and they're listening to the playback all in the control room, and
Yes.
they're listening to John screw up the words, George is smiling,
Right.
when he listens to that
And
playback.
they're all digging "Get Back." I mean, they play "Get Back" first, and they're all just,
Yep,
the camera's on their
loving it,
toes, and all their toes are just tapping
tapping, they're
away.
digging it. You got
Yeah.
even a smile from Miko there too.
Right.
you
Right.
know. And then they
So
make a
then
plan
they
to
right.
record the stuff they couldn't do the
Right.
next day.
The next day. Why? Because everything's still on the roof. That would have taken
Right.
hours for them to get down. Now, this is my biggest complaint about this whole documentary. they run the credits while they're showing all this. Now, these three songs that they record, Two
The
of
next
Us,
day,
Long and
Two of
Winding
Us,
Road,
and Let It Be.
Let It Be, those songs deserve to be played throughout, not just bits
Not,
here and there.
yeah, I'll agree with that. I'll agree with that. They needed to have their own show. Now I know the culmination of this documentary is the rooftop,
Right.
right? So
Yeah.
anything after that is like a postscript kind of thing. But if we're going to complete the timeline here and do justice to the history, they come the next day and do Two of Us, Let It Be,
Right.
Knowing One Regret, and they tell us, "Oh, this is the version that made it onto the album." Well, then
Correct.
give those songs their space without the credits rolling, please.
Right. Agreed, 100%. So that was, yeah. So they show Two of Us that appeared on Let It Be. They show him playing around with Long and Winding Road. Again, they show him playing around with Let It Be. But then once they get the Let It Be, the final version of Let It Be, they show that appeared on the album as well.
But they're not giving
But
you. They're just playing you a couple of
right,
seconds
just
of this.
snippet.
They're
Yeah,
not. They're
exactly.
not playing you the full take.
No, and that's the shame. I think that's wrong. I think, though,
I
again, those three songs deserve to get their due and get the full run through as well. Look, we're really going to complain if this episode was another 10 minutes longer.
Not
Really? I mean,
really.
this was the shortest episode of the three.
It
I mean, you
was.
can, yeah, you clock, add another 10 minutes. You show all three of the finished songs, if you will, the ones that they used that they were happy with,
And then
and
and
you
then you roll
show
the
that,
you roll
and
the
then
B
you and
roll,
then you
and
roll
then
the
you
credits.
roll the credits with the B roll. Perhaps
Yeah,
this extended cut that Peter talks about in things we said today ends up being a redone one with that extra footage because they have it. You know you know
I
you know
hope so.
they have it.
Uh,
But
Yeah,
yeah, but I guess centering this documentary on the rooftop concert. I guess all you have. I mean, what was those credits? It was 5 minutes, and you got little snippets of those three songs as the credits roll. That's all you
right.
really had, which is a. It's a. I'm not probably as disappointed as you are about it. I thought it was a little. It could have been a little bit better if we had those songs, but
Right.
I still did like it. I mean, it wasn't that bad of a. I didn't think it was
Right.
terrible.
Well, maybe James, but then don't show the full rooftop because bits and pieces of rooftop were shown in the original Let It Be. Um, I don't really necessarily agree with all of that. That that don't use footage from the original Let It Be
Oh,
because you know what I mean, because there's all this other
I mean,
footage
well,
that we
there's
want to see.
obviously yeah.
I mean,
Uh,
so maybe James, but still, again, those songs are timeless. They deserve to be seen
on their own.
complete on their own.
On their
Right.
own, not part of a little postscript. Now, Beans asked us
Right.
a question a few minutes ago here
Uh,
in the chat. This reaction, did the series meet or exceed expectations?
far
I'm gonna
exceeds.
far exceeds, far
Yeah.
exceeds,
Absolutely. And we were gonna get to that as well. So, initial reaction definitely far exceeds.
far exceeds.
Yeah. I mean, let me get because I've been taking so many notes on this damn thing, so I wouldn't forget what I was gonna say. A lot of this for this, but this thing really it. I couldn't have asked for anything better because this is really what I was hoping to see. The images with the audio. Now, even
Yes,
though not all of the images matched the audio, we know that. But what did was breathtaking. It was awesome.
and there were
Again,
times where Peter Jackson is such a great filmmaker that you couldn't even tell that he was
right,
using other footage to make up for the fact
right,
that there was not video footage, and by
right,
with the use of the pictures and or other images or moving pictures to make it seem like that was a conversation being had, whether that
right,
was a conversation between the two Beatles, between whoever, based
right.
on even just turning the camera angle of it made you feel like you were watching the conversation and it looked like it was on video, even though
Exactly.
that video did not happen to maybe exist. That he just knocked it out of the
Knocked it
park
out of
with
the
that.
park. Exactly. Again, the other thing, the body language, the facial expressions, those were something that I
Yep.
thought was necessary to see because it plays an important part. Because all along
Visual.
we know the visual. Yeah, we
It's a
knew.
visual. Yeah, all you've had is
Right.
52 years of camera clicks and
Right.
beeps and
Right.
talk. That's all you've
Right.
had. Studio
I mean,
B-roll. Beep.
right.
and
I
then
mean,
stuff.
we've been trained to think that this was the worst period in their career. And then you see this stuff, and again, like Peter Jackson has said, it wasn't all doom and gloom. I mean, there was, quite a bit of, good times there, and then that's the last time, and they show the hard times and the good times. I mean, a lot of us were worried about this. We're going to get a revisionist.
Is he going to do a
Yeah,
historical revisionism? And
exactly, and we
I don't.
didn't. It
No,
really
we didn't.
didn't.
We didn't.
No.
We didn't. If anything, he just showed that
Mm.
the period was anything but that. But again, let's remember, Let It Be, the film in 1970, and the connotations that it came with at that time. Of course, people were going to sour on it because the Beatles had just broken up. Oh, and that was when they were breaking up, and Yoko was there, and the period just
Right.
sucked. And it's very easy
Right.
to just say that period sucked because they were listless and they weren't into it. And obviously, with half a
Right.
century's time to digest on it, and obviously troll through 60 hours of video,
Right.
the man has captured that period is not as
Right.
bad as everybody has
Well,
said it was.
we gotta kind of blame that on the fact that the original Let It Be film has been out of print for how many decades?
Right.
So people may have not have seen that for 20, 30, 40 years. I mean, we've seen it because we have bootlegs of it. But again, if you hide something for decades and decades and then just tell us over
And
and
then
over again, that
no,
this was not a
not just
great period.
yeah, if you repeat whatever the myth is, and then
Right.
myth becomes accepted fact, and that's the
Yeah.
problem. Um,
Exactly.
decade after decade after decade, and the Beatles and Paul kind of hinting at Let It Be coming out over
Right.
the last 20 years. Remember 2003 when Let It Be Let It Be Naked
They
come
could
out.
be
Oh,
naked. Yes.
we're gonna get the film again. We're gonna get the film again, and then
Right.
no, it's not coming out. So all this
Right.
like teasing of, yeah, we're going to get the film. No, we're not going to get the film. Just lends
Right.
itself to that narrative. Oh, they're ashamed of it. They don't like it. They
Yes.
don't want to do it. They don't want to go
Good
near it.
point. Yeah.
That's why. That doesn't
Yeah.
help.
Yeah. I mean, I've seen interviews with Michael Lindsay Hogg over the last 20 years where he said it's been done since 2003. I mean, it's ready. They
Right.
could have released it at any point.
They could have.
But now, we got, if Peter Jackson's involved, let him again go through it, let him restore it
And he
like he
talked
has
about
with
that.
right,
He talked about that, saying that, he would love to be able to take Michael's film and just clean it
right,
up for him, not change anything because it's his film, just restore it for them, the 4K, the colorization, and all that, clean it up to him and
right.
give it back to him. And then, if, like
Yeah,
he says, do a bundled thing where you got Peter's film and Michael's
right,
film
right.
there.
All in the same package, and it should be presented that way. I mean,
Absolutely.
obviously, they've been talking since day one that, yeah, the original Let It Be is going to come out, but it's going to be sold separately. Which, I mean, I don't know if I necessarily agree with that.
What
And absolutely,
if Let It Be was to come out again, it would be separately?
yeah, it would be separately. Yeah, I mean, that's the talk now, is that it's going to come out, but it's going to come out separately.
Well, listen,
Um,
as long as it comes out, whether it's bundled in with Get Back or it's a standalone
right,
release, I don't think
right.
I don't care about that too much. Just
Yeah,
the,
and then go ahead.
that needs to come out. I mean, this Peter Jackson film is going to wonderful complement to all the great documentaries, the anthology, the complete Beatles. It's going to sit nicely along with all those things, but it will not do any Beatles fans any justice until that restored 4K
Right,
version of the original Let It Be is out and available for people to
right,
buy and have, because that's history.
right.
Accepted for what it is. It needs to be part of the canon. It can't just
I
be
agree.
erased.
Right. Yeah. Does this 8 hours bring in more fans, or does it kind of scare away new fans? I mean, you're
A little
talking
bit of both.
about you know yeah you know
A little bit of both. I think it'll attract young people who, well, or Disney Plus subscribers who might see it and go, oh, I'll check this out. This is a really cool band.
right,
But again, 8 hours on a project of this
on one
scope
month. I
on
mean,
on
it's
one
not eight
on.
hours of an anthology.
So
This is eight
I
hours
was saying this
of
to a
1 month.
friend. I was saying this to a
Right,
friend last night. The Beatles anthology is 10 hours, right? It basically
right,
covers 1957 to 1970. That's 10 hours.
right,
This is
right.
8 hours covering 3 weeks.
Yes, yes,
Think about that, Peter, if you want to do the rest of the Beatles history, hey,
yeah,
it'll be 200 hours. Go for it.
right. and people like us will buy that, and we'll cherish it,
So,
examine
but
it,
to,
break it
exactly
down.
to your question, I think it's a little bit of both. It will attract people. It will attract people because of the platform it's on. Okay, it's on Disney
Right,
Plus, so everybody, a lot of people, a lot of younger people, a lot of younger families have Disney Plus. Maybe they take the dive and watch it. But
right.
again, this might be a little too in depth, hardcore for casual people.
Yeah, yeah. That's true. I mean, I've seen people complain about, it being boring, and to those people, I just say, I don't know what to tell you. This is just
Well,
an extraordinary.
The Guardian beat
Yeah.
them up a little bit. You know.
Well, yeah, that too. But I mean, I've actually seen people on Facebook on Beetle pages say they just found it boring, and that's sad because this is just so interesting. These conversations are just so interesting. The evolution of these songs are interesting. I don't know how you could find it boring.
I don't know how you could. Yeah,
Yeah,
perhaps.
yeah,
Yeah,
maybe.
or do we get at some point? Maybe perhaps we do get a cinematic release of 2.5 hours. You know, at
Right.
some point in the next year in 2022, maybe they release it in the cinemas, and that draws new fans in. And
Absolutely. Right.
yeah, be very now that we've seen the 8 hours, I'd be very curious what 2.5 hours would constitute that edit. Obviously, the ending with the rooftop concert, but what else? You know.
Yeah, because he said on the things we said today interview that there's another 2 hours there that they worked on, and who knows, are they still working on it? you know, if they get that green light to do an extended cut, I'm sure they're adding more to it. Why wouldn't you?
One of the complaints I did read was about Peter Jackson, because Peter Jackson, as a filmmaker, takes stories and turns them into epics. Now, the Lord of the Rings was 3 books. Okay, so he made it
Right,
3 films. The Hobbit was 1 book that he turned into
right.
three
So
films,
3 films, right?
which a lot of people thought, myself included, really could have been 2 films. But no,
Maybe.
or maybe one long one. So a lot of people feel that the same thing applies now with this Get Back project. He's taking a 3-week project and turning it into an 8-hour thing, and it doesn't need to be.
Well,
But,
he's the king of trilogies.
King Kong
Yeah.
film was,
Was what 3 hours?
right. So
Mm,
it's again the Beatles. It's right. The Beatles are epic, as Ed says. And then listen, if any band deserves this treatment, it's the Beatles, and then some.
right. Yeah. So I'm absolutely giving this documentary 2 legs up, if you will, 2 thumbs
I,
up.
I
All
like
of
that.
that
I
stuff.
like that.
Right.
2 legs up. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Creative people won't find it boring. No, they won't.
No.
No, they won't.
What I
Hardcore fans.
found, what I have
Go
found, I'm
ahead.
sorry, Ralph, what I found is that younger
No.
people, they just don't have the attention span to watch something or listen to something for 5 minutes. Most younger people, I don't want to kind
Right.
of categorize a whole genre, but most younger people do not have an attention span to watch something of this scope, and that's,
Well, it also
you know,
depends on the level of their fandom too. I mean, if they're just a low level fan, yeah, this is going to be absolutely boring to them. I think I can kind of see how this could be boring to some people. I guess,
mm,
um, you know, just watching, just seeing them sit back, and Peter Sellers is there, and they're just goofing around, not really doing anything.
right.
I mean, maybe I can see how that you know could be a little boring. What?
I can't. I can't.
All right, Beans, you
Oh,
win the internet for the morning.
oh
Great.
my God. Oh man.
Anyways, this is unbelievable.
Oh God.
Oh man.
How do I we come back from that one?
Yeah, I know. I'm blown away by the whole thing.
Exceeded expectations, and we knew it wouldn't
Yeah.
be. You want to call it fanboys, whatever. Listen, it's an 8-hour thing. We've waited a long time for this. I mean, and I think it's
Right.
only going to listen. If you're a fan of the Beatles, you're going to love this film. You know, It's at its soul. It's everything that you want the Beatles to be, delivered in a style that Peter Jackson does
Yeah.
with care and with love and respect, and he does.
Cliffhangers, there's a story. I mean, there's the again, you have the you know the cliffhanger
Right,
of the first episode. I
George
mean, you
leaving.
just right, and you get the huddle, which is one of the great moments. You know, you get that shot that felt like it took forever. That's on Paul there at the beginning of episode 2, where there's talking about and then there was 2.
Oh,
You
and
see
his
Paul,
you see
you
Paul's
see how
face,
gloss, you see his face and how
and then there were
glossy eyed
two,
is, and
and
a
he
couple
just like,
twitches.
oh my god,
He looked
incredible.
like he could have broke down at any second.
Absolutely, and to your earlier point,
Yeah,
seeing this on video, this
right.
words audio doesn't just the look on his
No,
face
no, no, no,
when
no.
he's,
Absolutely.
and then there were two. Watch episode
Yeah,
2 and pause that and watch that. You tell me if you don't think that's the
right,
man about to just start, who's just going to lose it. Come on, you know.
right,
Tim
right,
Allen. Yeah, I believe it. Tim's definitely a first generation Beatle fan. So yeah,
right.
this is probably for people like Tim and my dad who were first generation Beatle fans. This is a something to go back and what they've been waiting for their whole lives for to see.
Yeah. So I'm sure we'll be talking more about this as the weeks and shows,
Yep,
that I'm sure we're going to go back and watch this and find more things that we
miss.
didn't
Oh
catch,
yeah,
that we missed, and um, I'm sure we'll be looking forward to any kind of physical release of this product, and
when do you think that'll
it's
be, Tom?
obviously
When do you think the earliest
um
we get a physical release? 6 months from now?
a summer release would be fantastic. However, I wouldn't be surprised if it was a fourth quarter release in time for Christmas.
Yeah,
Um, I guess it really just depends on what else is in store for us next year.
project
Yeah,
wise.
what
Yeah, I mean,
projects? I mean, we know
what
we're going to
else?
get a
What else are we
sometime in
gonna
New
get?
York City. We know we're going to get a sometime in New York City box set.
Right,
Um, we know, I mean, there was talk from Olivia and Danny had said that we're going to get, a concert for Bangladesh reissue.
right.
That that's
Right, but if
coming up.
if those are separate projects, right?
And
I mean, obviously they all kind of get
right,
their weight behind the Beatle ones first. So if
right,
I mean, we've got these
y-
50th anniversary, things all in the can
right,
now. Pepper, White
right,
Album, Abbey Road, Let It Be. They're done.
right.
Do they go back and revisit anything now?
Well, we were talking about that on Talk More Talk earlier or last night, where with this technology, where Peter Jackson's able to now take he can take something that was recorded on a 4 track and separate. If drums and bass or whatever were on on take on reel one or whatever on track one, and then he was able to separate it and do what they want. I mean, just like with the mic in the flower pot for episode 2,
For
all that
episode 2, yeah,
noise, all that noise, he was able to separate all that
yeah,
sounds. Yeah, exactly what Bean said with the new text. They can separate the sounds from a monotape. There you go. So those earlier albums are now possible
to be
to
done.
kind of to be done. And so yeah, why not?
We'll have to,
I mean,
yeah,
we heard Giles then talk about doing a Rubber Soul Revolver remix. Does that come out next year, or is it the following year? We got to at least expect a McCartney archive set next year
yeah.
as well. We'll probably get 50 Ringo EPs next year. So it's
We probably will, but it'd be, I'm sure that again, all their teams kind of coordinate this. And if the Beatles
yes,
project
yeah.
is going to be I think they're going to probably issue this, physically first before any new Beatle project comes out. I would think.
No, yeah, I think that's a good point. I mean, yeah, that's like again, what did John teach George? You finish the product first, and
Get it
then you
out.
go on to you get it out, and then you go on, move on to the next project.
Right,
You know,
right. So we'll see, we'll see. But
so
yeah, it's out, and it'll be up it's up on Disney Plus. It's not coming down. Everybody was worried. Oh,
no,
it's there.
It's
It's up.
there. You can watch it whenever you want to. When you finish it, and if you want to watch it again, you just hit play over. Just hit play again, and it starts right up. So don't be worried about if after you play it, it disappears. This is not network television where you play it,
No.
where it plays, and then you won't see it again until next year. Like the Wizard of Oz used to be,
Yes.
for so many
Yes.
decades. So. um but all in all, this was an absolute
Wonderful.
joy, joy to watch. I don't regret watching it when it first drops. I mean, I would do this again. I'm
Next
ready to
time,
split.
please make it 12:01 Eastern time, Peter. Please.
Yeah, there you go, James. It was worth your 199. Absolutely. Listen, we're on Disney Plus for 7.99 a month, and we've been, wife and I we've been enjoying Disney Plus now for this whole month. We're keeping it.
Keep
I've
it.
loved
Told you.
yeah,
Told you.
no, I mean
You told you
we've
you were
been
gonna like it.
watching. Oh yeah, I mean we've been watching the Muppets like crazy. We watched the Rescuers earlier yesterday. We've got so many things that we're gonna be
Plus
busy with.
all these Star Wars side projects that are coming out,
Yes.
Mr.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Obi-Wan Kenobi over there. Come on.
Boba Fett starts next month,
Yeah.
which is going to be great. Obi-Wan's going to be next year. Are you kidding? It's a no-brainer.
Yeah,
It's a
it is.
no-brainer.
It is.
So,
So
Andy, anything else you want to add before we sign
no, it
off?
was just I can't believe that with the anticipation and the build up that we've waited for so long for now is done. We watched it. We watched it every morning. And thank you for calling me and waking me up in the middle of the night to make
Yeah.
sure that I was awake to watch it.
Yeah.
Thank you for that, and happy that we were able to watch it and kind of get our initial raw take on it out there for everybody to watch and hopefully agree or disagree on.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, thank you, Andy, for joining me for all of this. Thank you, everybody out there, for joining us for these little live reaction chats. Hopefully, you guys. I mean, obviously, everybody that's seen it has enjoyed it so far, and I hope we all enjoy it. Yeah, it's like the day
It
after
is.
Christmas.
It is. Bingo. That's exactly how
Yeah.
it feels. That's exactly how it feels, Tim.
It feels like 5 minutes after you unwrapped everything, and you just want to go back to sleep. you
Yeah. Yes.
know?
Yes.
Anyways, but thank you, Broad Street.
Thank you, Ed.
Check out Call Me Mr. Broad Street, his YouTube channel. Check out Tim Allen's YouTube channel. Everybody's got some great YouTube channels. Check out Matthew Street, me and Mr. Mayo. They've also been doing their initial
Reaction
reactions,
videos. Yep.
yeah, to these episodes as well. They've all been doing a great job, and yeah, let's keep this ball rolling. What's next? You know.
Bring it on.
Bring it on. So, everybody out there, again, thank you. If you haven't subscribed, please hit that subscribe button, click that bell so you get the notifications, and give us a thumbs up. And we'll check all of you guys out soon. Our next episode of Two Legs drops tomorrow, right? Sunday. So
Yes.
we extended it another day so we wouldn't have two things out on the same day. But our second episode with the very lovely and talented Natalia Cardenas drops tomorrow with the second part of Women and Wives. So be on the lookout for that. An 8-hour Broad Street.
Yes. Yes. Absolutely. Yeah, that drops tomorrow.
I'll watch it.
Of course you'll watch it. You'll buy
Yeah.
it too. Who are you kidding?
Yeah. Yeah. So that's dropped tomorrow. And everybody out there, thank you again. And peace out. And,
Enjoy Get Back.
get some sleep. After you get some sleep, have a great day and a beautiful night. All right.
Bye.
Bye.